I've been using this telehandler to work on my house lately, and it's been working pretty good, but there's a few issues that I need to fix on it. This has disc brakes, and some of them are pretty locked up, and it does roll because it's got four-wheel drive, so it's a little bit harder to spot than, say, a two-wheel drive vehicle, because then you could see when things are dragging. But since all four tires get power, it's hard to tell exactly what's going on. But there's a few things that I noticed that kind of give you a telltale sign. So, for instance, this rotor right here, you can see it's taken off all the rust in all the areas. And I really haven't been using the brakes because they've been kind of locked up, so I don't really need to. This one over here doesn't show near as much wear on it, so I think this one isn't near as locked up. All four brakes have disc brakes, so they have calipers. And this one looks like it's got a lot of wear too. Not wear, but like recent wear. You could probably tell while I was moving, when I stopped pressing the accelerator pedal, it like lunged forward kind of, and that's the brakes locking up. You could also hear them, they're kind of making a noise like they're squealing almost. Not squealing, but they're just making a noise that you can tell that they're locked up. So the machine has plenty of power to overcome that, but I'd like to get those freed up. I've parked this on a few hills that should have definitely needed brakes, but it doesn't because the brakes are locked up. So I haven't even needed to use the emergency brake. It does work, but I need to adjust it. So that's the brake pedal works, but it's not as good as I would like. So I think I just need to bleed the brake system. Let me just show you what I mean though. See how when I stop, it kind of like rocks back and forth a little bit? So I'm just going to start with taking these calipers off and seeing how free they are. Push them back, move them a little bit, put some grease in the slide pins. They don't really have slide pins, they have like guides. But we'll just grease up everything to make sure everything's moving good. And it might be a seized piston inside the caliper, and it's not easy to find parts for these. So So if you try to look up new calipers for this machine, you won't have any luck at all. But on the part itself, there's a part number. It's 4150844, and that's made by Bendix. So what I did is I went inside and I cross-referenced that a few times until I found something that was local. So new calipers for this were $93 a piece. So I just got all 4 of them. I'm not even going to mess around. I'm just going to put them on. This one was seized even going out. I literally couldn't even push the pistons out. That's how seized they are. Normally they're seized up to the point where you can't push them back in, but this one was even further than that. You could see the line was flexing every time I hit the brakes too, so you know there was a lot of force. I'm not worried about putting new brake pads on here. This one's got a 1/2 inch of brake left. This one's got 3/4. I don't know if they're designed like that or whether they should be even, but they are quite different from each other, so maybe that's normal. But in any case, I'm not worried about it because I'm not going 60 miles an hour down the road with this thing. I'm going like 5 miles an hour, so I didn't want to spend another $300 on this when it's really just not necessary. If they're cracked, I'll probably replace them, but I guess we'll see if they're cracked when it gets to that. I just doused it down in brake parts cleaner. I'm just waiting for it to dry and I'm going to put them in. So the two worst sides were the front left and the rear left. So let me get these two first.
Now?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So last night I got done with all the brakes and I tested it out, and this works really good. It's got a lot more power now. The only problem is on a slight incline it'll roll away from you. So I need to get the parking brake working better. This is a mechanical parking brake, which is just a cable that goes down, and on the front transfer case there's a mechanical drum type brake there, and I'm not getting much of a response from it. So first thing I'm going to do is just tighten up the cable. There's like a little knob right here that you turn, but everything's frozen up, so let me spray it down with some penetrant and see what we can tighten up. It's only got this much more to tighten up, so hopefully we don't need new brakes. All right, so this machine drives and stops much better than before. So with this e-brake here, I adjusted it underneath. I got like a 1/2 inch out of that cable. And then I also adjusted this up here. I finally got this broke loose after going back and forth like a million times. I didn't realize I wasn't recording at the time, but when it finally broke loose, then I was able to tighten it up all the way. And it didn't feel like it had much brakes, but when I was testing it out, it instantly stops this and won't let it move. I think it uses a lot of leverage because it doesn't feel like there's a lot of brakes, but there is. See, it's rolling right now. I was going down a hill the other day and I just threw this on and it instantly stopped me. And I was going pretty good down that hill, and it was a pretty good sized hill too. So I still need to do a few more things to this, but right now my parents need help over building their house. They're putting up plywood on their gable end, and they could really use this to put that up. So it shouldn't take that long. I'm going to go over there and test this out, and then when we're done, we'll bring it back and do some more work to it. And I have this basket that I made real quick. It took me like 15 minutes. It's nothing special. But I do have another basket on the way. I ordered a new one. So hopefully we get that before the end of this video. But we're just going to use this for right now. It's safe enough. I've used these before.
Maggie. Let it face your way, but this one. Where is it? Right there. Back to you. Okay. Now go back to me. Couple more nails.
All right, go to 61 then. Finish nailing that off.
Actually, just hang out here. Hold it. I got it. Okay.
At 81 3/8 starts the angle. And it's up
4 feet.
4 feet, right. Then 88, it's down to 43 1/8. From there to the end of the sheet is 40 3/8. So what you got is a transition of 2 angles there. Coming down and then flattening off some.
down here so that you guys can grab it without me having to get off.
Okay, you gotta go use about a foot. Okay. This should sit on the thing better. Wait a minute. Okay, back to me. All right.
Then come over 72 3/8. And then you're coming up 31 3/4.
Oh, that actually looks really good. I'm gonna put that back. Looks like the guy I got it from must have replaced this because it's brand new. This hose here was kinked. A lot of people noticed that in the last video. I knew that, I just needed to have some time to replace it. That's a flex exhaust pipe. It's exactly the right size. It fits on there real snug. To fix this exhaust, I could also put one of those flex pipes on, but I really hate using those unless I really have to. And in this case, I can take this whole assembly off, get it welded up perfect, and then put it back on. So that's what I'm gonna do. I always feel like a flex pipe is kind of a hack job. But in that case, since it's not exhaust, it's not considered a hack job. So basically I need to rework this so that this comes out around here. And so the way I'm going to do that is get another one of these elbows that's not damaged, cut the bottom off as much as I can so it comes down like at least 2 inches, and then follow it up to here. So I figured out I want to lower it by 3 inches. So my plan originally was to just cut a bunch of this off and then stuff it down as far as I could. But I think the better option is I'm going to cut this flange off, and then I'm going to cut this down to here and weld the flange back on. What do you think, Noah? You like it? You're a funny guy. Yep. That's to go forward and reverse. Crow. Those are crows.
Look!
Yeah. Alright, so I'm done with most of the repairs for now. I didn't get the basket for this. I don't even know if they shipped it yet. So I may be a few weeks before I get that. I'm not really sure, but the rest of most of the important stuff is done. It's got all new calipers. And the most important part is that all the brakes work. It's amazing how much more power it has and how much more easily it rolls now that the brakes aren't locked up. That was a huge thing that I didn't even really realize at first because I was too busy fixing everything else. I went through the machine and got every single grease joint. There's a lot of grease joints on this machine. So really this is ready to work every day. And when I'm done with my house and I build my new 40 by 60 garage next year, I am going to put this in there and I'm going to rebuild the motor. I'll put new sleeves in it, new pistons and rings and stuff. But for this year, it works for what I need. It does start a little bit harder when it gets cold, but a pinch of starting fluid and it'll start right up. And I don't really think there's anything else I need to really do to it now anyways. We'll see how it works as I work it, but for now I think this is going to be a big help building my house, and I can also use it on jobs too. I'm going to get a bucket for this, and then that way you can scoop like dirt and rocks and stuff into a foundation from far away. And actually in the future I'm going to be building a little castle on that island for the kids, probably out of ICFs or something, like 4-inch ICFs. And so that'll be pretty useful for that, because then I can actually get some stone over there. That'll be pretty neat. So that's the three main attachments for this machine, would be the basket, and then just the forks alone, and then the bucket. Those are the three things that this machine works really well with. You can see the exhaust is much lower now, so now I can lower these cylinders down all the way. I did lower the cylinders down all the way, and I was able to pick the front of this machine up. And the machine must be pretty strong because it's 22,000 pounds. So the fact that I was able to lift the front up with a boom with only a 6,000 pound capacity shows that it's able to lift much more than 6,000 pounds. But I was never able to pick it up before because I couldn't lower the cylinders down enough without hitting that pipe. At first I thought that dent in there was something that they did purposely, but then I realized that that was there because somebody just went too far down with it and this exhaust wasn't right. It still does leak a lot of exhaust right where the elbow meets the manifold. I gotta figure out some way to seal that up better, because clamping down on it doesn't do much. So that's it for doing the repairs on this machine. So I'll see you guys on some of the videos with this in it.